Hello and welcome to everyone joining us via live stream. I'm Dr. Roderick Richmond, Interim Superintendent of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today for a very special event. Here in our district, we believe that laughter is good for the soul and for education. Comedy is more than just entertainment, it's an art form. And as many of you know, art is one of my 5 A's, a pillar of our commitment to a well-rounded, enriching education for every student. Some of Memphis's most talented and humorous individuals have walked the very halls of our schools. That legacy of creativity and expression is something we're proud of and something we're determined to grow. Our goal is to teach the craft and the business of entertainment. In short, we're here to educate and enlighten through the power of laughter. A huge thank you to our special guests today for sharing their time, talent, and expertise with our students and our community. You all are in for a real treat. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and get those questions ready. Greatness grows here.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Neveah Boyce. I'm a rising senior at Southwind High School. I am also a part of the Wonder Mentorship program called Project Stand with MSCS, where we strive to make sure students are great in the future and are ready for post-secondary. Today, I am here with Mr. Roy Wood Jr. I'm going to be interviewing him and asking him a couple of questions. Just in case you didn't know, Mr. Roy Wood Jr. is a beloved comedian, father, and actress. So first, Mr. Roy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I started out being inspired by Ricky Smiley. He was the comedian I looked up to growing up. And, he was doing comedy. And because he was from where I'm from, then it made me feel like that I had a shot at doing it too. Like, I wasn't that good at sports growing up. I was all right, but I usually rode the bench. I didn't play often. So it gave me a lot of time to crack jokes and act a fool. I went to college and I ended up studying, journalism at Florida A&M University, and I got in trouble. I got in trouble while I was in college for stealing credit cards when I was 19 and got myself on probation. And so, like the guy should have been sent to prison if we're gonna be 100 about it. Uh, Looked up. I had some praying grandmamas, so jail never happened for me. But during that time on probation is when I started really getting right, getting focused, and getting dialed in. And I've been doing stand up comedy since 1998 when I was 19 years old. It's been a blessing.
That's wonderful. Now, you have mentioned in a number of interviews how getting suspended from Florida A&M changed your life trajectory.
Yeah, because when I got arrested, they suspended me. Yeah, I forgot to
Yeah.
add that part. Yeah, you don't just get to come back to school on probation. You got to go sit down somewhere for a minute.
Yes, sir. I understand. So, will you take some time to kind of explain how you use that to invest in your future?
For me, so when you get suspended from college, it's a little different from high school, where like, well, no, it's kind of the same. You can't come on the campus, but in college, you can still kick it with your friends off campus, which I guess you could still do in high school. But for me, I didn't really have no friends because once you get arrested, don't nobody want to hang with you no more. Don't nobody want to be around you no more. And so for me, I was very lonely. And what I discovered at that time was that when I started doing open mic comedy, and so for the people who don't know, every city got a little local comedy club, and once a week they have a night where anybody who think they funny can come on stage, and we'll give you 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, to try whatever you want to say to the. And so I started doing open mics around Tallahassee. I was taking the bus up to Atlanta and doing comedy in Atlanta. Same game in Birmingham. I started meeting people that wanted something. They was chasing something. They was after something. And I realized that I I don't think I ever really had that in college. Low key, I don't think I really had that in high school. So if you got a dream or you got something you really want to do, you need to be around other people that's dreaming and protect your dream, because there's gonna be a lot of haters who's scared of chasing their own dream, or who ain't got a dream, who gonna try and step on yours. And you got to get them people out your life. And for me, getting suspended low key is what got all of those people out of my life, because most stuff at that time at FAMU, everything was happening on campus. All the parties were on campus. You hung out on campus. So I legally can't come on campus because I'm suspended. So I just wasn't around folks like I used to. So I found a new group of people, and the group of people that I found were much more driven and focused on their goals and where they wanted to be in life.
That's a very good intake from that. I will say that. But I want to ask you, because you did mention
Okay.
that every city kind of has its local comedy club, right? Where you can come and get your
Mhm.
time to talk and be funny. So I want to ask you, when did you first realize you were funny, and what do you remember about that moment?
Oh, I mean, but it's kind of two different things. You know you funny right now in class. You know if you crack a joke, whether or not somebody else gonna laugh. You know when you start premeditating what you gonna do today, or what you gonna say, or what face you gonna make at a girl or your homeboy or whatever, that's gonna make them kind of giggle or whatever. For me, it was the school bus in middle school, because the school bus is straight jokes. We sitting here for an hour. It's hot. The windows don't half go down. We uncomfortable. We on here playing spades and playing tunk and just acting a fool. And I think I was funny then, but for sure when I played baseball in high school, because I rode the bench and I would help heckle the other teams. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, if I can get the umpire to laugh, or I can get one of these other parents in the stands to laugh, then you know you got a good joke. So that was like, being funny is one thing, but like going, I think I could stand on stage and in front of strangers and do this. It was high school, but even then, it would still be another 4 or 5 years before I even dared to try and do it. It took a lot.
Wow. So really, what did it for you was just doing it. So you just got out there and did it.
You got to
Okay.
look at it like this: when you fail, most of those people you'll never see again, especially if we're just talking performing. All right. And if you fail in high school in front of your classmates, all right, you got to see them again. They may even tease you a little bit, but I guarantee you at the end of the day, you're going to be in a better position than they are, because you're trying right now. I don't know how many people you all love and respect or laugh at. Dave Chappelle started doing comedy when he was 14 years old. Ari Spears started. Ari Spears was on HBO Def Comedy Jam at 16, which means he had to have started at 14, maybe even as early as 13. You don't just walk on TV doing jokes. You got to try and try and try again. And this isn't even just about stand up comedy. We can just talk about skits. Let's talk about Drewski. Let's talk about Desi Banks. Hey, we can talk about Country Wayne. You think every skit they did off the top was funny? No. You post it, somebody on the internet go, that ain't funny, I ain't like that. Okay. You take the note, you figure out how you can make it better, and then you go right back up online with something else. And you have to keep punching. And I'm willing to bet anybody you laugh at right now online, anybody you watch, I don't care if it's I Show Speed, that's the one, right? I'm a little old. It's Speed, right? Every live stream may not hit like the one that you saw the last week or the week before, but these people, they keep trying. You keep continuing, because people who don't like you, that's a dime a dozen. And most of them don't matter. And the main thing as well, with whatever you're pursuing, whatever goal you're after, you cannot let people who are too scared to chase after what they want to go after, stop letting them folks hate on you and influence you. Let them run their mouth and go, yeah, all right, cool. Man, you ain't funny. That skit was lame as hell. Okay, cool. I'm going to put another one up tomorrow. and I'm gonna put another one up the next day. And I guarantee you, you'll start finding your audience. You start finding the people who rock with you. And the same goes for family. Because low key, some of your family be the biggest haters too. Because they ain't chased after nothing. And they're gonna try and talk you out of it. Don't disregard wisdom, but understand the difference between wisdom and hating. Because some people are going to try and talk you out of something versus people who are going to show you a better way to achieve it. That's wisdom. And that's the difference between wisdom and hating, you know? Because there's a way for, I'm going to be real, there's a way for grown-ups and teachers and folks in authority, people who are all in charge of your life right now. There is a way to know whether or not they're trying to guide you or discourage you. And to me, the number one thing is that if they telling you get your education, okay, fine, they're not wrong. But in the same breath, come back and ask them, how would you go about this? Because the answer can't be don't do it because you already got the itch. So seek out guidance from people that have already done something or already climbed a mountain or have already strived to take a risk in doing something. And you'll see, man. If you research anybody that you like, go find anything they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I bet you're going to find something that wasn't funny. I bet you're going to find something that doesn't impress you. And then ask yourself, if that person you're impressed by now, what if they had stopped then? So, I don't know. I'm sorry to start preaching like that. Let me take a sip of soda.
It's fine, I promise. You just gave us a very powerful message. What I took from that personally, you said don't let others who are afraid to go and do what they want to do influence you or dim your light. And seek guidance from
You
the
gonna
right
do that?
people.
Why you doing that? That don't even make no sense.
I would like for the audience to give us some questions. If anybody has a couple questions, I would like you to put them down below. So we have a question right now. It says, you spoke about being suspended ultimately change your trajectory. Okay, she's saying you spoke about how being suspended ultimately changed your trajectory. What advice would you give our youth about the company they keep?
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful who you hang with because this also goes back to goals. If you hanging with people that don't have a goal or don't have something that they're focused on or locked in on, those people could go anywhere. They can make any type of decision because they don't care about their life. Um, I kept a lot of bad company, but in a lot of ways, I'm gonna be honest, I was the bad company. You know, I was the one that had the credit cards and told everybody, "Go to the store, we finna get some clothes," and then everybody got arrested, and I got because I was the ringleader. I'll tell you a quick story about a boy I knew down in Tallahassee. He was on an engineering scholarship. This boy's smart, 3.8 GPA, ain't got no business doing some of the stuff he was doing. Got to running with some cats because they think being big and bad and having a gun, like you working to impress other folks who ain't about nothing. You got a gun, that's only gonna impress other people with a gun. All right. Where does that get you in life? And so my boy Duck, he's running with some cats, and Duck, they went and they robbed a Denny's in Tallahassee. These boys is like 17, 18 years old. They go into Denny's and they rob everybody every single person that's sitting there. They go in there, they rob them. By the time they get out there, the police sitting on their car eating a snack, just patiently waiting on them to come out to Denny's. And so they get arrested. They get probation. Now, in Florida, they have a law called 10/20 life. And what it means is that if a gun is pulled out in the commission of a crime, you automatically get 10 years in jail. If the trigger is pulled, you automatically get 20 years. If the bullet strikes someone, whether they live or die, you get life in prison. That's the law. I don't know if it's still on the books now, but in the late 90s, 10/20 life was still a law about guns, right? So these boys rob at Denny's. They never pull out a gun. They're out on bail awaiting trial for that robbery. Duck is still hanging with these same dudes. Remember, 3.8 GPA. Ain't got no reason to be behaving like this. They go riding one night, and Duck is with these same dudes, and they go, hey, pull over real quick. I'm going to run in this store real quick and grab something. Duck is in the car. The boys go inside the store, pull a gun, buck 2 shots into the ceiling to get everybody's attention. Everybody lay down. Them boys in there rob the whole gas station situation, come back out. Sure enough, they get pulled over a couple blocks later. Everybody go to jail for 20 years, including Duck. Because you already out on the first robbery, and instead of getting your head straight and trying to cut a deal to stay free, you running with the same crew. Now everybody go to prison. He might have just got out. That was 99. I think it was 99 when Duck got arrested. So, it may not even be about the decision you make. You could be living a life of consequence based on someone else's decisions. And I'm telling you right now, the person who gonna make the worst decisions in your circle is the person who ain't got no goals. They ain't striving for nothing. So be very careful. Be very careful about people like that. And if you ain't got no goal, you better go find one. Because I guarantee you, that's gonna motivate you to start figuring out how you can focus and spend time on that. There's somebody on earth right now that's doing what you wish you could be doing. Google them, read up on them, listen to their podcast episodes. I guarantee you, somewhere in one of them podcast episodes, it's a gem. Don't just watch them do the thing that you love them doing. Study them, read about them. And I think from you'll start finding something that draws you to hanging with the right crowd or focusing on the thing. Hey, man, I can't run with y'all to the thing. I want to stay at the house and learn video editing. Oh, I can't go with you to the thing because I want to go back and understand social media marketing so I can build my channel and monetize and get a little bread. So, you can either be the influence or you can be influenced.
That's amazing. So make sure you are being the influence and are keeping the right people around, because you never want anybody who's going to impact you negatively to be in your circle. So that's a very valuable life lesson. A very valuable life lesson. Yeah, I will say that. Thank you for that. That was a powerful message. Once again, so you're not just a comedian and an actor and all that. You're a motivational speaker too, I see.
I don't know about that. I'm just a dude that made a couple mistakes, and I can look back on them and see where I could have made some better decisions. Is all.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. Sometimes you have to go through things to know things. I'm realizing that the older I get. So I have another question I would like to ask you, if you don't mind. I want to ask you,
Okay.
as someone who uses humor to connect with people, what has comedy taught you about love, relationships, and being truly understood by others, especially during times when life doesn't feel so funny?
I think I don't think human beings are that complicated of a people. You just want to know that someone cares about you, someone loves you, or that you're not alone in feeling the way you feel. That's really what comedy has taught me. So the only way to make sure that people don't feel alone is to be honest about what you're going through, on stage or in life or what you see, to bring it back to a lot of these sketch comedians, there's another one I can't think of right now. Is it Ha Ha Funny Davis or is it Lou? Might be Lou. Um, but these boys, they will like make a video that is super relatable to something that you know or something that you experience. So if you're a viewer and you see that video, then you're automatically going, oh, dang, he sees me. He understands exactly what I'm going through. Okay, dope. I understand that now. So I think that it's about making sure that to me it's really about making sure that whatever you're saying is honest, because whatever you're going through, somebody else went through it. Oh, I'm not sure if my boyfriend and girl, I don't know if they like me for real. Oh, I think they don't love me for real. But you got to be honest about that, and that takes a lot of courage, you know. So I think before you start talking about yourself, whether it's poetry or writing or whatever the art form is, talk about what you see. If you're writing a song, talk about the things you see. Talk about what you've seen other people go through. What are your feelings on it? I think good art, no matter the medium, it could be painting, music, you can write a movie, you can write a play, it don't matter. Good art should answer one of two questions. It should inform the audience of one of two things. One, who are you as a person? Or two, how do you feel about a particular issue or a particular thing? So, who are you, or how do you feel? If you start with either one of those, you're going to be in a good place.
So, being that these newer sketch comedians know kind of, what the population is going through, or the youth, or just us people in general, and they take it and make it relatable, or how we can relate to it, sometimes they take it and instead of it being just a skit or just a comedy, they take the things that we're going through and make fun of them, if you get what I'm saying. So I want to ask you, how do you decide if a joke is too far or off limits?
For me, it's not up to the comedian to decide when you've gone too far. Oh man, that was too mean. That's up to the audience to decide. I don't believe that any comedian operates in any place other than trying to make people laugh. Period. Now, whether or not you think that that topic or that joke angle is worth laughing about, whether you calling somebody ugly or overweight, or you making fun of them because they got special needs, then those lines definitely the audience can decide, all right, you crossed the line there. All right, you shouldn't have said that. Well, then as a comedian, you have to decide whether you're going to continue to do the types of things that are funny to you, that make your brand unique, or if you're going to constantly change to what everyone else thinks. I think you have to understand as a performer, though, there is a penalty in making people mad. You might not get as much money. You might not get as many hits. They might delete your page. They might demonetize you on YouTube. I've seen that happen to a lot of cats. Now, if the joke is worth it to you to stand on 10 toes like that, then you go right ahead. But just know that more often than not, if you are always changing based on what people decide, then who are you? Because the people always change. The people's opinion, oh, that ain't cool no more. Okay, all right, this is cool. All right, we say this word. Hey, we don't say that word no more. Well, who are you? Because if it's just constantly changing for what is digestible to the masses, then you run the risk of losing, being unique, for lack of a better word. I'm not saying go out there and just be offensive, but I am saying that you crack enough jokes, eventually you're going to find somebody that has a problem with something that you said, no matter how calm and basic you may have viewed the statement to be.
Okay, that's great. Do we have any more questions that people want to put in the comments right now?
This has been great. You're a great interviewer, by the way. Like I
Okay.
said, you very prepared.
There's a question here. I don't see it. Let's see. Hopefully it'll pop up soon. Here it is. Tell us a little bit about becoming an author and about your book, The Man of Many Fathers.
Ah, so I wrote a book. It's not out till October, but the book is basically about. So my dad died when I was 16, And because of that, there's just a lot of advice that a father might give a son that I didn't get. But when I look at my life, I got all of the values that I needed, but I got them in a lot of random places from a lot of random people. So I decided to write a book that just compiles a lot of the stories of how I learned particular values and what those values mean to me and how I could pass. I have a 9-year old, so I think often about how I could pass those values down to him. So yeah, the book is just about, when you talk about not snitching on somebody, there's a value in that to some degree at work. Minding your business is really probably a better way of phrasing it. Um, but the idea of, loving your mom, like that's a value that was handed down to me, and having respect for women. And so it was fun to write, and I'm very excited for that to drop when it does.
That's great. I want to ask you a question about your mom. So, could you describe to us a relationship, well, the relationship that you had with your mother and how it impacted you when you were young and now?
My mother and I, my mom is my best friend, you know, but we went through some heartache when I got to college. It was a very difficult time between me and her. Um, because I wanted to do comedy, and my mom has always been my biggest supporter of anything I've ever wanted to do in life. And with comedy, the deal we made was, if I can make good grades, then you can't say anything to me about stand up. And she agreed. And so I started doing stand up, and I was on the dean's list the rest of the way when I was in college, straight AB honor roll. And I get to about a year back in school, and my mom put down money for me to get a car to keep me from riding the Greyhound everywhere. So, this is a woman who didn't understand what I was doing, but she respected the pursuit and she respected the dedication. And that was enough for us to kind of see, I don't want to say eye to eye, but there was a level of respect. All right, if you're going to get your grades, then I'm not going to say anything about you doing comedy and riding all over the country on a Greyhound bus because it's not affecting your grades. And I identified what was important to my mom and tried to feed that beast. And then in turn, was able to do what I wanted to do without there being any real, intrusion by her. Fast forward to today, my mama be mad when I don't tell her that I'm gonna be on TV. you know, my mom be like legit upset about that type of stuff. So it's been cool, it's been real cool to be with her on this part of my journey now, considering, where it started. But, my mom, my parents didn't get back together till I was in the fourth grade. And my pops died when I was a senior in high school. So my mom ain't done nothing but work and grind to try and keep the lights on and keep the IRS. When my dad died, the IRS came to take the house. And me and my mom had to work extra shifts. I was in high school. I was working 30 hours a week, fast food. You ain't supposed to be legally, you're not even supposed to work that much. But you want to eat this week or not? You want the heat on this winter or not? So, my mom has just always been somebody that put her head down, don't complain, and do what she got to do. And I definitely got that from her, and I'm thankful for that.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Once again, a powerful piece coming from you. I do want to ask you one more question about your mother, but first, we have a question in the comments. It says, in entertainment, how important is Memphis to the culture?
Ooh, very important. Memphis, like here, let me tell you a Birmingham story. Um, Memphis is a trend setting city, and this doesn't just go back to the blues and the Delta and jazz. It's just the roots in that city are so unique. And one of the most beautiful things about Memphis, and to me, I'll identify three cities that do this: Memphis, New Orleans, Atlanta, I guess Miami. Those four cities support their own artists. If we're talking southern cities, I'll throw in Houston too. Part of why Memphis has a unique sound is that the city of Memphis and musicians and like radio station, everybody, y'all support local talent. Then on top of that, if you are local talent, you can't sound like anybody else. It's not allowed. You'll get stomped out. If somebody came out in Memphis right now trying to do Project Pat's flow or Dolph's flow, they not gonna get played on the radio. They get booed out the joint. So that level of local support for artists, it's unprecedented. And that's part of why Memphis has culture that's able to influence everywhere else, because people are always seeking out the thing that's unique or different or bold, you know? Which is why outside of Memphis, when you start going to a lot of other cities, you start having artists that just sound like they try and do their own version of what Memphis do. Sound like they try and do their own version of Atlanta. We had that problem in Alabama for a very long time. Though I feel like part of the issue in Alabama when I was doing hip hop radio was that radio stations did not support local artists. And so the only way you could get played in the South, if you were from a part where you didn't get local support, was that sonically you had to sound similar to what the other stations were playing. You had to have that flavor. You had to, and it's hard to imitate Memphis culture. You can't. I don't even fool with y'all's drawl. I ain't even trying to learn that Memphis accent, and I dang sure can't juke. Can't do it. So it's one of those things where you know Memphis culture is paramount in influencing the rest of the world. There's a I saw on a t-shirt one time it said Atlanta makes and the world takes. I feel the same way about Memphis.
Definitely, they be taking everything. I'm surprised you don't know how to juke though. We gotta teach you. So
Don't teach
I
me.
have
I'm
a couple
46,
of
young lady. My bones don't work like that no more.
I don't believe that. Look at you. Check him out. Like I was saying, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. It's gonna be simple stuff, so answer them like that, just off the top of your head. You think you can do that?
Okay.
Okay. So, in your grits, do you like salt or sugar?
Salt.
Okay. Your ribs, do you like them dry rubbed or sauce?
Sauce.
Who's your favorite baseball player?
Ooh. Ken Griffey Jr., Willie Mays, tie.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay, rap, Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Oh, Kendrick. Don't do that.
Yep. Oh, my bad. Who was the last person
That's
you saw
unfortunate.
in concert?
Oh, Lord. I'm finna date myself. I think it was Big Crit. Yeah. Yeah, it was Crit. Yeah, Big Crit.
Wow, okay. Is that before my time?
Yes. Now, wait. Now, hang on. You acting like I said BB King or something. Big Crit ain't but from like 10 years ago. He had the sauce 10 years ago. Don't see y'all be disrespectful now. Y'all see, you youngins. I had to close this computer up right now.
Okay. So, first, I would like to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in and came to watch this today. Can I get your final thought on what's going on? Anything else you want to tell us or share to the youth or people who are watching in general?
I said most of what I had to say, but I just want to make sure that everybody watching this, just know that you have a gift, and it's that thing that you aren't sure about. It's that thing that you wonder if you're good enough to do. It's that thing that you don't really want to tell nobody that you like to do. It's that one TikTok account you're always looking at and curious about, and you look at it and you kind of hate on it a little bit. You go, I wonder if I could do that. I bet you I could do a better version of that. Then go do it. Go do it. Go be terrible.
Yep.
And then the more you're terrible, the greater you will eventually be. Rest comfortably in failure, knowing that failure is part of the process of growth, and do not worry about anybody who takes joy in pointing out that you failed at something. You're supposed to fail.
Amen to that.
There you go.
Thank you so much for being here to speak with us today and sharing us some of your life
Absolutely.
experience, as well as these amazing, valuable lessons. You did an amazing job. I just want to tell you that I myself have had my personal intake from this, and it is great. So also, once again, thank you to everybody who joined and tuned in and commented. Thank you all for being here. And thank you, Mr. Roy Wood Jr. You continue to keep us smiling, laughing, and informed. You have a great afternoon. And everybody else here have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you very much. And shout out to Catfish Cabin, RIP Catfish Cabin. And everybody go Google Big Crit and listen to a classic. He's from Mississippi. I'm sorry for pointing. I'm getting aggressive.
On behalf of Memphis-Shelby County Schools, we'd like to thank our wonderful guests and you, the audience, for joining us today. I hope you were enlightened and entertained. Be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms for more great programs just like this. Remember, greatness grows here.